911. It's a number dialed over 240 million times each year. In all cases, these calls are answered by trained professionals, and many are certified NENA ENPs. Let's talk to one of these professionals, unedited and completely off the cuff.
Are you positive he's breathing?
No.
Okay, and he's blue?
Yeah.
Okay, then there's a good chance he's not breathing. Is there somebody else there that can do CPR?
Oh my God.
911, what's your emergency?
NENA, the National Emergency Number Association, and an ANSI-approved standards development organization, has created the Emergency Number Professional Accreditation, specifically for public safety professionals. ENP certification establishes the benchmark for performance, signifying a broad-based competence in the public safety field. Successful certification completion demonstrates an individual's mastery of the knowledge base requirements for an emergency management position. So join me as we talk to yet another new ENP, unedited and completely off the cuff. Hey, it's Fletch. I'm Northeast Regional Director for NENA. Welcome to another episode of Off the Cuff, True Confessions of an ENP. Today we're talking with Brian Grimm from Dutchess County, New York, brand new ENP. Welcome to the podcast. Congratulations on your certification.
Thank you, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. So Dutchess County, New York, you're just over the line, upstate New York, from me.
Yeah, we're about 80 miles north of New York City, so not too far away.
Yeah, no, that's a beautiful area up there. It's you got a little bit of residential, a lot of farmland, and a little bit of city.
Yep.
So how long you been on the department up there?
I'm in my 17th year as a 911 dispatcher.
Wow, that's a long time.
It feels like it.
I can imagine. So what got you in the field, Brian?
Well, I was a volunteer firefighter. I've always been interested in technology. Went to school for fire science, and opportunity came up with Dutchess County 911, and I got the job, and I really never looked back.
No, that's great. So give me an idea of what Dutchess County 911 Center is like. Is that a large center up there? Do you handle a lot of the local towns, or what's the environment?
It's a mid-sized 911 center. We handle about 800 square miles, about just shy of 300,000 residents. We do a fair call volume. It's a mix, like you said, of farmland, residential, some industrial, commercial, urban areas. So a little bit of everything. We have 40 full-time staff, and we have call takers, dispatchers, and assistant supervisors, an operations director, and a director of 911. So it's a pretty well laid out 911 center. Okay. How many you have on staff at one shift average? Our minimum staffing is 5 dispatchers and a supervisor. So the groups are at full staffing, and we're not at full staffing. At full staffing, they're a supervisor, assistant supervisor, and 7 dispatchers. Is anybody at full staffing? No, I don't think so. I've been there a long time, and I think there was a 6-month stretch that we were at full staffing. If somebody says they're at full staffing, well, you're lying. So yeah. So what's your biggest challenge in a semi-rural area like that up there? I'm currently assigned as the training supervisor, and training people from different backgrounds, and then to know a huge geographic area, and then to know how to handle different types of calls. We get your shootings and stabbings, we get your residential house fires, we get industrial fires, we get a horse trapped on the ice, we get somebody trapped in a silo. Like there's a wide range of different types of emergencies you might need to handle, and you need to be able to approach all of them.
Yeah, no, and that's the problem. I think, I talked to somebody down in that was north of Orlando, down in Gainesville, Florida, and a lot of farmland, but then they've got the city of Gainesville with the university. Like 1 second you're taking a, domestic violence call, next call in is a cow in the street. And it's a wide variation.
That sounds familiar.
How long is your training program?
We do 8 weeks of classroom time, and then we do on the job with a CTO, with a training officer, for each step, for call taking, for fire and EMS dispatch, and for police dispatch. So our training can run up to a year. It's usually in the 8 to 10 month range.
Wow. Now, I grew up in rural New Jersey, out in Northwest Jersey, very similar to Dutchess County. You probably have a lot of colloquial names for areas that are never put on a map, Beacons Hill and this and that. How do you deal with that in training from a geography?
We usually do a fair amount of, we always encourage the trainees to drive around on their own on their days off, but go out driving with them. And we've done that in the past, where we'll take a staff car and drive them around with a specific goal of identifying busier areas and named areas like that might not show up on the map. The other way we get around that is we have a really robust GIS team that's able to put a lot of stuff into our CAD map, that between common names that we can reference directly, or just named areas on the map that you can put in there. We're very cognizant of, when the old Kmart closed, don't get rid of that name on the map, because somebody is going to say, hey, I'm right in front of the old Kmart.
Yeah.
So between those types of things and the areas, it is a training challenge for sure.
Yeah. 5 miles before the Johnson barn, before it burned down.
Yeah, exactly. That we absolutely get that.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's the agency like? Are you part of the sheriff's department, or?
No, we are an independent department within Dutchess County government. So we are under the Dutchess County Department of Emergency Response. So our commissioner reports to the county executive, and we draw our funding from Dutchess County government. So we work closely with the sheriff's office, but we are an independent agency.
Okay, so you probably dispatch sheriff, but do you dispatch municipalities as well?
We do emergency police dispatch. We do 13 police agencies that we do emergency dispatch for. And we don't do any running license plates. We don't do any criminal history checks or anything like that. We're heavy on the fire and EMS side, and the police side, we just do the police emergencies, get them there, and then their own dispatcher takes care of everything else.
Oh, okay. So they get handed off to their local. So do you actually dispatch, do the radio call, or do you just do the call taking?
So our staff members do we have the ability to have a call taker take a call, put it into the CAD, send it over to a dedicated dispatcher. The dispatchers are trained in all areas, so they might be a call taker one day, dispatcher the next day, and we do the radio dispatching for the police side, and we send them there. We provide updates as they're en route. Once they're secure, it's pretty much they're interacting with their own agency for all the other details of the case. And then when they're all clear, they tell us, and we clear them out of the system.
Gotcha. They switch over to a local channel for that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, all right, that's interesting, because I'm sure there's a little confusion back and forth, forgetting to switch channels, forgetting to check back in.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that. Our police dispatch channel is generally that's the channel everybody listens to. So we have the forest rangers on there. If we've had NYPD up in the area, they have our channel. The U.S. Marshals, because it's one of those channels that if it's only emergency traffic, everybody likes to have that on just to know what's going on.
Sure.
And if they need help, they know that if they call out, everybody else is listening. So we try and keep it emergencies only on that channel.
So I got to ask you, Brian, how was it with the drones up there? Because I know what it was like down here. We had a ton of them.
We got a little bit of call volume for that, but it was more just like making sure we kept our administration notified of, it's anything hot button issue, anything that might make the news. They like to know about, but we had no real safety concerns when it came to that. You guys had it much worse than we did.
You didn't have people shooting at them and stuff?
Not that I know of.
Down by me, if they've got an excuse to shoot something out of the air, boy, the guns come out right away.
Oh, Lord.
It's raining lead today.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's fantastic. So what do you think your biggest challenge is in that kind of an area from a technology perspective? Are you guys getting next gen 911? Are you looking into that, or where do you guys stand from that perspective?
We are always looking towards new technology. I can't say that we're a center that stands still. We've gone through various hardware and software upgrades since I've been there. We have the Vesta phone system, and I'm one of the administrators for that. That onboarding for the Vesta was, I was very impressed right off the bat with how much technology is built into it. Really enjoy that as a product. We are big on consolidating with other agencies as far as technology goes. Sharing shared services is real big in our area. So we share that technology with several other agencies, which helps a lot, both on the operational side and obviously on the financial side.
Yeah. So being on almost 2 decades, you've seen a fair amount of technology progression in your agency, I imagine.
Yeah. The phone system, especially, this is our 3rd phone system that we've had. Our computer people support us a lot. Our department that handles information technology, they have us on a schedule where they upgrade our CAD PCs, our monitors on a regular basis. So we are on a cycle that every few years we get all new stuff, the best of the best. So that's really good to see. Our radios, we have a big radio project, growing our radio system right now. And that's also going to be really nice when that's online.
What are you guys on for radio frequency up there? VHF, UHF?
We are on UHF for fire and EMS and VHF for police, but we're looking to go to an 800 full blown. We're adding tower sites, the whole thing. So that'll be a big change.
Yeah, people don't realize there's a lot of low band stuff still in our area because of the mountains, right? I mean, I know there's my local department just got off low band. They were down on 35 something, not too many years ago, and they just got up on. I think there's more cell towers, so there's more towers where they can start putting the UHF and the 800 megahertz trunked repeaters up to get the saturation that they need.
Oh, absolutely. We still do. When I started, we did a more low band, but we still broadcast our dispatch frequency on low band, and we still New York State maintains a inter-county mutual aid channel that's low band, and that channel, every single county in New York State uses it. At night, you get the skip. We'll get we'll hear the counties out past the Finger Lakes, out towards Buffalo, talking to each other, and that's some serious range. But we keep it mostly as a backup. The firehouses maintain a lot of the sirens are still on the low band system, so if we ever went down or lost some towers right from our location, we can hit those firehouses. But inside of buildings, the low band was not worth anything.
Yeah, when we do the ENP exam every year and we look at the questions, it's 150 questions, but it's only 150 questions. And there's a lot of technology that's out there these days, especially with next generation 911 coming on board. And we look at pulling out some of the older technology. And, every year, some of the radio RF questions always come up. Do we still need to ask about low band VHF, UHF? I'm like, well, as an RF guy with background, I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of places that still utilize that and use a mix, and it's still relevant, and it's part of the overall knowledge. Hell, California, most of CHP, they'll never get rid of their low band out there.
Yeah.
So
our local power utility, they have low band as a backup, and you'll see it on their vehicles. They'll have a humongous antenna, and they have it like kind of wrapped over the top and bolted down. So if they ever need it, they can put it up in the air and they can reach no towers, nothing. They can reach all the way back to their base. So
sure,
it is relevant for sure.
Well, yeah, and again, it's like I said, at some point technology gets retired, but you have to kind of be careful you don't retire it too easily or too early. A lot of people want to start getting rid of the legacy telephony stuff because everything's moving voice over IP. But legacy telephony, it's still got its relevance in a lot of areas, right? So, it's that big mix. How did you find the exam for an ENP? What did you see for the spread of questions that were asked?
It was good. It was heavy on technology, and I got to tell you, right before probably 3 weeks before I took the exam, I assisted our tech contractor with a huge project involving reworking our trunk lines and the queues inside of our phone system, and kind of getting it to where I wanted it to be for training purposes. And in that, I was picking his brain the whole time. I'm always like a lifelong learner, and I'm going, how's this work? And what's this for? And what does this abbreviation mean? And sure enough, I get the study guide for the ENP exam, and I'm going, oh, I know this. I know this. I got to say that as a on the floor 911 dispatcher, I'm not sure I would have known that stuff, and I would have had to study it a lot more to make sure that I had it down pat. But the fact that I was involved in a tech program right before that, working on that project, really helped a lot.
Did you find you got a little better level of respect out of your vendors once you had your EMP, or could at least talk their language?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. It certainly helps to have that base of knowledge, because if you've been picking up a phone your entire career and they ask you questions about trunk lines and routing and phone areas, and if you're in some sort of management position or supervisory position there, and you go, I don't know what you're talking about, they're gonna have to stop and explain it to you, and it's gonna slow down the process. I don't think it's expected that I would know that stuff, but it's nice. It's nice that I know it. It makes it easier to talk to them for sure.
Yeah, and it's definitely a job benefit, right? So when you get into RFIs and RFPs, when you're being BS'd and when you can kind of needle in a little bit on asking the right questions.
Yeah.
So where are you going to take your career from here? You've been in a long time. How much longer you got?
Well, I have a almost 3-year-old at home, and I have a newborn at home. So I've got probably 18 years left.
I'll stop working when they close the lid. Right?
Yeah, exactly. No, I can retire when I'm 30 years in.
Okay.
So in theory, I have 13 years left, but we'll see. Well, I'll have kids approaching college, so we'll see where we're at then.
Yeah, you're not going to be retiring in 13. Not unless you find a pot of gold buried up there in Dutchess County.
Exactly.
So that I really admire you, because that's an area that is really it's one of the last frontiers of good country living, where you don't have to drive 5 miles or 5 hours to get to a store.
Yeah, it is a strange mix. I live in a neighborhood area, and if I drive 10 minutes one way, I'm right on the Poughkeepsie waterfront, and if I drive 10 minutes the other way, I'm looking at cows.
Yep.
So it's really I love the area. I grew up here. Really enjoy it.
Yeah, no, like I said, I really envy you, and it's a nice. I don't know. Is it Amish up by you? I know that's
No, we don't have Amish, but we have one of the train lines from New York City, so we still have a fair amount of commuter traffic. So the southern part of Dutchess County is fairly well developed and residential. It's the northeast area where you start to get some farmland.
okay. Yeah, because I know, of course, in Pennsylvania there's a huge Amish community, but I thought there was a section of the northern Poconos areas that was kind of still Amish up in New York State there.
Yeah, if you get out to like the Finger Lakes area, I think they have some Amish areas too.
Yeah, it's an interesting way of life when that borders onto civilization, right? It's
Oh
a
yeah.
definite conflict. What's your biggest problem with crime in that area? What do you find is your biggest challenges?
Um, Kind of got a little bit of everything. We went through a bank robbery several years ago. We had a whole bunch of bank robberies. That's calmed down quite a bit. We I don't know. The shoplifting, we have a little bit of gang stuff in Poughkeepsie, but overall, it's a pretty safe area.
Yeah, the bulk of that area up there really is kind of more. You have got a lot more rural than you have urban. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So that kind of keeps it kind of nice. So back to your ENP. What did you find the hardest part for studying, and what did you do? What were some of the tips that you used?
I probably went through that study guide probably 3 times before I took the exam. And the practice exam was a huge help. The most difficult parts were probably still the technology areas. For me, the front part of the study guide, the technology areas and the legacy phone routing and stuff like that, especially since a lot of our stuff has gone to VoIP. So I'm more familiar with that stuff and had to kind of ask some questions of my tech guy, like who's been doing it a long time. Like, can you explain this to me? I got the study guide, but I really wanted to know it well because the testing procedure was very robust. I felt like there's no anybody that takes this test does it on merit. It's not like the testing contractor was really good about, you get checked, you get patted down, you get, ID checked and the whole thing. Which is reassuring. You're putting this much effort into it to take this exam. You want to know that it means something, and it does.
Yeah, most of the cost for the EMP exam actually is incurred by that PTC, by the professional testing company that does the administration of the exam, which I think is really important because it's a certification that needs to mean something, and I think it carries a lot of prestige in the industry because it's so tough. A lot of people give it a little more credit than I do. Yeah, it's a tough test. It's not unsurmountable though, but you do have to study for it, and it's a lot of knowledge most people don't have. So people can't go back. Well, I've been in a career for 17 years, so I know this, and the testing is just a certification or a reassurance. No, there's 17-year people that are still learning a lot of new stuff, such as yourself.
Yeah, it definitely felt like that I needed to study for it. And even with the studying, I'm really glad I've been doing this 17 years because I think it was like you had to be in 5 years or a combination of a bunch of factors to even take the test. And I'm looking going, if I was in 5 years, this would be a lot to digest. And I pulled on a lot of parts of my career to get that knowledge out of my head.
Well, it's a testament to your overall knowledge of the industry, right? Not just I'm a radio guy, I'm a VoIP guy, I'm a CAD guy, I'm everything. I know a little bit of everything. And I think that's what makes the test so difficult. And getting that done in as few questions as are there. I mean, it's really difficult to, even though that's a long test, it's still difficult to get all that knowledge checked in those questions.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You couldn't miss too many questions. You couldn't flub a whole section and pass that test.
Yeah. That would be kind of tough to do. But all right. Well, that's great. So what's your best tip for someone who's thinking about doing this for their career? Has it helped your career? I know you just got it, but have you seen any recognition?
A little bit. I didn't put my label on when we started our recording. You had to go.
Nobody does. I always get to do that.
And change my label to say ENP. I admit my email signature doesn't say ENP yet, but it's nice to have. It's also good for your resume for promotional considerations. It might be something that tips the scales there, shows that you're committed to your career and bettering yourself, I think. So my advice to somebody taking the test, if you're planning on taking the test at some point in the future, ask questions, talk to your supervisor, talk to your tech guys, ask questions about your CAD, your phone, your radios. I have a few staff members that are curious about everything, and they want to know the inner workings of everything and how it all works. And I think that's fantastic. And I will take the time to explain to them whatever they want to know about our technology, our process, our CAD system, any of that stuff, because it's going to help them grow in their career. If you're taking the test next week, lock yourself in a room and study that study guide. Flashcards. I did flashcards for all those different phone routing protocols and the areas and all that stuff, because I knew that was going to be a weakness for me, and I did flashcards for that stuff.
Yeah, see, I didn't have the flashcards when I took mine a couple of decades ago. We didn't have all this cool stuff on the internet. Flashcards are something that everybody says really, really helps. And I'm not a flashcard kind of guy. Never grew up with them, never really had them, but everybody says that really helps.
Yeah.
What about, did you do any study groups?
I didn't do any study groups, but that could also help. It depends on what type of learner you are, and also your schedule and what type of time you have to study for that stuff. For me, I'd have to find a break in my day, chance to buckle down and open that book. And it's not entertaining reading. It is dry, but it's not supposed to be entertaining.
If you can't sleep one night, it's a great book to pick up.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. Put you right to sleep.
Put you right out. I'm telling you. No, that's fantastic. Well, listen, Brian, thanks very much. I'm glad you got permission to do the interview from your management team. I know we've been waiting for a little while to get that done, and kudos to them. Are you the only ENP in your center?
My director is also an ENP.
Good for him.
That's really where I heard about it, is when he got his and asked him questions about it, and then went from there.
Great. Fantastic. Well, now you'll be the inspiration for a couple of more.
Yep. Thank you.
All right. Well, listen, thanks very much for sitting down with us today. Congratulations on your ENP. Wear your symbols proudly.
Thank you again. Have a good one.
All right. Take care. Well, that wraps up this episode of Off the Cuff, Confessions of an ENP. I'm Mark Fletcher, ENP, and I'm the Vice President of Public Safety Solutions at 911 Inform. Off the Cuff is sponsored by 911 Inform, delivering next-generation 911 solutions to the enterprise today and making every second count. Visit them on the web at 911inform.com. Remember, you can follow me on Twitter at Fletch911. Check out all my blogs and podcasts at Fletch.tv. And be sure to like and subscribe below. That way you'll be immediately notified whenever a new podcast is published. Thanks so much for listening. If you're in public safety, thanks for what you do. Take care and have a great day.